One of the most unexplored ecosystems on Earth would have to be the rainforests of Papua New Guinea. This island nation, despite being the second largest island on Earth, is only home to around 11 million people. The island is estimated to be home to 40 uncontacted tribes and an estimated 840 living languages, making it the most linguistically diverse country on Earth, as well as having among the largest uncounted populations of any country. Papua New Guinea is also home to thousands of undocumented species which thrive in the forests just outside of our knowledge. However, there are rumours of another, much stranger presence within the jungles, rumours of unknown entities from eons ago. These are some stories of prehistoric cryptids, believed by some to live in Papua New Guinea. The Ropen, meaning the demon flyer, is reportedly a large, undiscovered species of flying creature, either an undiscovered giant bat or a hiding pterosaur. Pterosaurs are commonly called flying dinosaurs, even though, as every fanboy knows, they're not actually dinosaurs. They are instead close relatives, nicknamed flying reptiles. Physically, the Ropen is said to have a massive wingspan with a wild range in size of between 12 and 100 feet or 3.6 to 30 meters. It's said to be nocturnal with bioluminescence, meaning it can glow in the dark. They feed almost exclusively on fish and human flesh, which they usually acquire in the form of graveyards. Others claim the animal has an incredibly long tail, at least 25% the length of its body. The first reported testimony of the Ropen was from a famous biologist, Evelyn Cheeseman, who was well respected and believed in evolution. Specifically, she was an entomologist, which is someone who studies insects. In her 1935 publication, The Two Roads of Papua, she records baffling lights that lasted for 4 or 5 seconds. Another sighting from the early 20th century was from 1944. American fighter pilot Dwayne Hodgkinson was stationed in the jungles of Papua New Guinea. As he and another military man were moving through the thick vegetation, they heard a loud, startling sound. As they entered a clearing, they witnessed a massive creature take several steps on the ground before taking off. It was said to have a massive tail and a great wingspan, along with a large crest. There were several other sightings and eyewitness accounts from both Westerners and the native peoples, particularly towards the end of the 20th century. On the island of Papua New Guinea and its surrounding islands, there are many accounts of large bipedal reptilian monsters lurking within the jungles. These sightings have been attributed to a massive lumbering creature, the New Guinea therizinosaur or the Kai Munu. The following information comes from an excerpt on creation.com written by Brian Irwin. Since the 1990s, a large reptilian creature has been sighted occasionally on Ambungi Island in West New Britain, Papua New Guinea. An Australian author interviewed a young man named Robert who sighted the creature between 2005 and 2006. He told his story in the language Pidgin, translated into English by a translator. The creature was described as being 10 to 15 meters in length, with a long tail and neck. Appearing as a very large wallaby, it walked on two legs with shiny brown skin. The sighting was made in the late afternoon from a distance of about 50 meters. There is a lot more to this story which you can find on creation.com detailing the entire story. Some cryptozoologists claim this creature to most closely resemble a therizinosaur, while others believe it to resemble a large dromaeosaur. In 1999, the independent newspaper of PNG reported that a dinosaur like reptile was seen on 2 occasions in the Lake Murray area in the Western Province. It was on December 11, 1999, when villagers travelling in a canoe reported seeing a large animal wading in shallow water near Papua. The following day, an Adventist pastor and a church elder claimed to have seen a similar animal not far from Papua. The creature was said to be as long as a dump truck, with the width of 2 meters. It was said to be a biped, walking on 2 legs, with a long neck and long tail. Its head was similar shaped to a cow's, and its teeth were sharp, being as long as fingers. A similar episode of reports occurred in March of 2004 when a 3 meter tall creature with the head of a dog and the tail of a crocodile was seen. This sparked multiple reports from several news agencies, most of them having the headline of Dinosaurs sighted in PNG. Villagers in the province of eastern New Britain claim to have fled at the sight of a large creature in the jungles. It was as fat as a 900-litre water tank, being a huge and ugly animal. The province capital mayor believed this creature could become a major tourist attraction similar to the Loch Ness Monster of Scotland. The Dubsegna is probably the most plausible of the New Guinea cryptids for many reasons. In 1993, Ned Terry investigated reports of a thylacine-like creature allegedly living in the Baliem Valley. Upon showing the local Dani people photographs of a thylacine, they identified it as the Dubsegna. It's clear then that this creature is essentially just a living thylacine or Tasmanian tiger, but instead of living in Tasmania or Australia, it lives in Papua New Guinea. Thylacines actually lived in Papua New Guinea until around 3,000 years ago when humans introduced the now native New Guinea singing dogs. A very similar account came from March of 1997 when a similar account of a thylacine attacking villagers' livestock surfaced in western Papua. Now that we've explored some possibly surviving prehistoric creatures, let's discuss what each of them may actually be. Starting off with the Ropen, there is a lot to talk about in terms of the plausibility of its appearance and behaviour. First, while the basic appearance of the animal takes inspiration from a pterosaur, there is just many weird details and confusing characteristics that are impossible to not touch upon. It appears to have the size of the large as darkened pterosaurs, including Quetzalcoatlus or Aramborgiania, but its anatomy is similar to a pteranodon, especially with the crest. It also has a very long tail, like a rhamphorhynchid. There are no indications of the ropen being covered in pycnofibers either, which are small hair-like filaments which all pterosaurs are believed to have had. It's clear that the ropen's anatomy matched more closely with what we believe pterosaurs to have resembled in the late 20th century, contrasting with what we know nowadays. There's also the issue of bioluminescence. Glowing lights are only seen in marine animals and terrestrial invertebrates. No tetrapods, so mammals, birds, or reptiles, have been found to glow in the dark. Overall, the ropen seems to be the least plausible of these multiple cryptids. Then there's the Kaiamunu. New Guinea Therizinosaur is a little bit more like the real animal, with long claws and a long neck and tail, but the size just seems way off. Eyewitnesses put the animal at over 10 to 15 meters, while the real Therizinosaurus only grew to around 9 meters. There's also the issue of where all information of this cryptid originates. All of the information on the Kaiamunu that wasn't on a cryptid Wikipedia page was from thecreation.com, a young earth creationist website. The same inconsistencies apply to the New Guinea iguanodon. I believe this cryptid to be the second most plausible and likely to exist, as it has few ties to creationists or religious figures, with the exception of the 1999 story with the church elder. If this creature were to exist, I don't believe it would be an iguanodon. Its descriptions are wildly inconsistent, with some sources claiming it has the same head shape as a cow, while others claim it's similar to a dog. There's also the reports of it having a bipedal stance, which isn't correct for hadrosaurids or iguanodontids, which walked quadrupedally on four legs. Maybe this creature is a result of sightings with multiple animals on different occasions instead of being a single creature, similar to the beast of Gévaudan from the mid 18th century. The most plausible cryptid I have discussed is the Dubsegna, New Guinea's living thylacine. The thylacine, unlike the other three cryptids, actually has bulletproof evidence of once living in Papua New Guinea. Until very recently, geologically speaking. I believe it's very plausible that at least a small population of thylacines survived in Papua New Guinea, at least long enough for humans to find out about their existence, creating a cultural memory. And there you have it. Those are some neo-dinosaurian and prehistoric cryptids believed by some to inhabit the jungles of Papua New Guinea. All of them are fascinating in their own rights, and all of them, even the Ropen, have at least somewhat genuine origins. New Guinea's rainforests are a very unexplored part of Earth's wilderness, and new species are discovered there every year. Who knows, maybe a lost prehistoric creature really does call New Guinea home and is hiding from our modern day gadgets.